However, the Great Leap Forward suffered a disastrous defeat. If the productivity standard continues to be followed, the situation in China is simply depressing and hopeless. At this time, Mao Zedong shifted his goal and proposed another value standard. The slogan of surpassing Britain and catching up with the United States was quietly put away, and the slogan of anti-revisionism and prevention of revisionism replaced it. The slogan of march toward science was no longer mentioned, and it was replaced by politics in command and never forget class struggle. There was less talk about the economy and more about revolution, and the main focus was on the revolutionization of ideas. Material indicators became spiritual indicators. Revolution did not serve the purpose of developing productivity. Revolution itself became a purpose, a standard, and a synonym for advanced. Revolution also became the purpose and meaning of life. At that time, the only criterion for people to judge a person was whether you are revolutionary or not. Capitalism has long been dying and decaying. The problem now is not how we can catch up with the West, that means we are not as advanced as the West, but how we can liberate 2/3 of the exploited and oppressed people in the world, that means we are the most advanced. The Soviet Union has degenerated into revisionism and lost its revolutionary spirit. It is no longer a model for us to follow. The center of the world revolution has historically moved to China, and Chairman Mao is the red sun in the hearts of people all over the world. China's economy is certainly not developed, but that is the fault of our ancestors and foreigners. Economic underdevelopment is not very important. Didn't Lenin say advanced Asia, backward Europe a long time ago? Lin Biao further announced that North America and Europe are like the cities of the world, and the vast areas of Asia, Africa, and Latin America headed by China are like the countryside of the world. Today's world is in a situation of the countryside surrounding the cities, and victory must belong to us, not them. It can be imagined that Mao's goal shift and value substitution would not be difficult to win broad support within the party. After all, the blame for the Great Famine lies not only with Mao, but also with the party, so the party also needs to whitewash its mistakes. Furthermore, as the Chinese Communist Party, which has ruled the world's most populous country with a history of 5,000 years, it cannot be satisfied with being mediocre in all fields and always playing a second-rate or third-rate role. Mao said at the Chengdu conference, China should become the world's first great country because of its large population. Otherwise it will be difficult to explain to the inside and outside. It needs to create its own exclusive brand. Totalitarianism needs to constantly create illusions and climaxes. It must not only have great goals that are enough for the masses to devote themselves to, but also have great achievements that are enough to make the masses proud. Otherwise, it cannot prove its greatness, glory and correctness, and thus cannot maintain its absolute power. When one illusion and climax are shattered, it must be quickly filled with another. The reality of China after the Great Famine is that it is completely hopeless to create miracles in the economy and material, so the Communist Party urgently needs to shift its goals and divert its attention. If the economy fails, it will engage in politics, and if the material can't be played, it will play with the spirit. In this regard, Mao and his party are connected. They have the same anxiety, so they also have the same needs, so that to hit it off. In this way, a kind of Mao Zedong thought with fundamentalist characteristics emerged. In fact, it is not fundamentalism, because it is far more narrow-minded, more timid, and more aggressive than fundamentalism. It is more hostile and intolerant to both Chinese traditional culture and Western civilization. People of insight will undoubtedly feel uneasy and worried about this. The more sober and pragmatic people in the top leadership of the party also tried to resist, but it was too late. Mao's personal authority may have been discounted among the top leaders of the party, but it reached its peak within the entire party, the army, and the people. The most crazy about Mao's ideas are young people, especially those in colleges and universities in cities. Now, Mao has the capital to launch the Cultural Revolution. Aristotle pointed out, suspicion is the characteristic of tyranny. Kings are maintained and supported by their cronies. As for tyrants, they have their own strategies. They know that everyone in the country wants to overthrow him, but only his friends have the ability to overthrow him, so friends should not be trusted the most and should be paid special attention to. In order to prevent his cronies from seizing power, tyrants sometimes have to use the lower classes. Tyrants sometimes deliberately indulge slaves and other people of lower status. These people are generally not dissatisfied with the power of the tyrants, nor do they participate in anti-tyrant activities. They are often more jealous of their masters or other people of higher status, so they are happy to expose their masters and are keen to overthrow or level the big men. Such people will also be more willing to be ruled by tyrants, just like they are happy with the civilian system, and the tyrant will be happy to act as a protector of little people and a leader of the civilians. The communist totalitarian system is different from the traditional monarchy and is more similar to the tyranny. On the one hand, the supreme leader must rely on a huge party organization or bureaucratic system to implement strict control over the whole society. On the other hand, the party organization or bureaucratic system, especially its upper level, may become a certain obstacle for the leader to implement his will, or even become a direct threat to the leader's power. Therefore, a shrewd leader uses two sets of methods, sometimes using the party organization to oppress the people, and sometimes using the people to rectify the party organization. Mao is both the chairman of the party and the highest official, and he seems to be the leader of the masses who are suppressed by the party organization and the bureaucratic system. He combines two opposing roles in one person. The secret lies in this. Mao Zedong was worried that officials at all levels of the Communist Party would not be so obedient. So he mobilized and used the masses to criticize and struggle against those in power, and used the hands of the masses to complete an unprecedented large-scale purge, and then rebuilt the bureaucratic system, making it a more handy tool for him personally, thereby establishing his absolute authority and moving towards the highest degree of dictatorship. Birds are hidden in bows, rabbits are dead and dogs are cooked, and bridges are demolished across rivers. After Mao Zedong used the rebels to defeat his political opponents and consolidated and strengthened his ultra-left line, he launched successive campaigns to clean up the class ranks, clean up the May 16th movement, and fight against the three anti-counterparts, etc., and defeated the rebels. Since the rebels regarded Mao as the highest authority, they were unable to withstand attacks from Chairman Mao's headquarters. The rebels were not the only victims of the Cultural Revolution. Old Red Guards and conservatives were also victims of Mao. There were also different factions within the party, all of which were exploited and attacked by Mao one after another. In the end, it only created the absolute power of Mao alone. Mao Zedong died in 1976, and his gang of four members Jiang Qing, Zhang Chenchou, Yao Wenyuan, and Wang Hongwen were arrested immediately. The following are the main crimes of the Gang of Four. 1. Instigating and planning the Cultural Revolution. With the support of Mao Zedong, the Gang of Four actively promoted and planned the Cultural Revolution, launched mass struggles, and attacked capitalist rulers inside and outside the party, seriously damaging China's political and social order. 2. Persecuted countless cadres and the masses. During the Cultural Revolution, the Gang of Four persecuted a large number of party, government and military cadres and ordinary people through struggle meetings, big character posters and other means, resulting in numerous unjust, false and wrongful convictions. Many people were persecuted to death or suffered serious physical and mental injuries. 3. Destruction of economic construction. The Gang of Four promoted the ultra-left line during the Cultural Revolution, which interfered with and destroyed the country's economic construction and production, leading to a serious decline in the national economy and a significant drop in people's living standards. 4. Destruction of culture and education. The Gang of Four advocated destroying the Four Olds and establishing the Four News, destroying traditional culture and education systems on a large scale, causing a major blow to China's education and scientific research. The arrest of the Gang of Four marked the official end of the Cultural Revolution. China entered a new historical period and began the process of bringing order to chaos and reform and opening up. China has emerged from that extremely turbulent and dark historical period and entered a new stage of reform, opening up, and modernization. The Communist Party of China made the decision to end the Cultural Revolution at the third plenary session of the 11th Central Committee in 1978, marking the end of this turbulent period. In 1978, Deng Xiaoping became China's main leader and promoted a series of economic reforms and opening up policies. Reform and opening up enabled China to transition from a planned economy to a market economy, which greatly promoted economic growth and social progress. After the implementation of the reform and opening up policy, China's economy developed rapidly and became an important engine of global economic growth. Large-scale industrialization and modernization have enabled China to achieve economic takeoff in a short period of time. Reform and opening up not only brought about tremendous changes in the economy, but also promoted progress in all aspects of society. People's living standards have improved significantly, the number of poor people has been significantly reduced, and public services such as education and medical care have also been improved. With the rise of its economy, China's status and influence on the international stage have also increased significantly. China has gradually become an important participant in the global economy, politics and culture, and is playing an increasingly important role in international affairs. During the process of reform and opening up, China has also made exploration and innovation in its political system and governance structure, promoting the construction of the rule of law and the modernization of governance. In general, after Mao Zedong's death, China got out of that dark period of history through reform, opening up, and modernization, and ushered in historical opportunities for economic prosperity, social progress, and improvement of its international status. This turning point laid a solid foundation for China's great rejuvenation. Mao Zedong's role in China's revolution and construction was multifaceted. He proposed and practiced the revolutionary road of encircling the cities from the countryside, led the Chinese Communist Party to victory in the Liberation War, and established New China. However, his wrong decisions in the Great Leap Forward and the Cultural Revolution also brought huge disasters to China.